So every tough result today. Baylor, obviously a very good team. What do you feel like they did well today?
Yes, sir. They're a very tough team, man. We knew coming in it was going to be a tough game. They're playing at home. They just came off a big win against West Virginia. And so what they did very well, they made good shots and they executed their plays very well. When we made mistakes on the defensive end, they executed very well. And the long rebounds, we couldn't grab them. And so that took a big toll on us. And so it's just little mistakes that we did in this game that we could fix.
I mean, even with them playing well, OSU still hung around all game. I mean, they never, they were never really able to apply the knockout punch.
Yes, sir.
What did OSU do well?
We just didn't back down. We knew we just gotta stick to our identity. We had to get stops, and to do that, we had to grab the boards and get out and run. And so we did that a little bit in the second half, but we just gotta keep going. We can't turn the ball over. Everybody turned the ball over, and that's things we work on in practice. Is just we just gotta not do it against a good team.
All right, members of the media, if you have a question for Oklahoma State's Avery Anderson, please click raise hand and we'll try and get to everybody. Our first question is going to come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Avery, defensively, it seemed like you guys struggled to get stops. You'd have runs and they would answer. What do you feel like you guys could do better to kind of contain that and to avoid the runs after you go on runs?
Just communication. Because I would say little boneheaded mistakes was communication-wise. Like if there was a ball screen, some guys would call out the ball screen coverage, but everybody wouldn't react to it, what they were supposed to do. So I would say communication on defensive end. That's what really got us this game.
And that first half, they were really good rebounding the ball. What did they do so well there, and how did you guys adjust? Because you kind of made up for it in the second half.
What we were doing was we wasn't really boxing out, man. We were just trying to go get the ball, thinking it's about to be a short rebound. But, when people shoot threes, it's going to be a long rebound, so we have to adjust. And we talked about that at halftime, that we got to block out first and then go get it because it's going to be a long board. So that's what we have to do for the second half.
And how concerned are you about Cade's ankle?
I know he's strong. He's going to be back. He's a tough guy.
And I know speaking of tough, you had a root canal the other day,
yes.
And you're a little banged up. So how did you feel coming into this game?
Yeah, it was tough, but I knew I had to fight through for my team, and so I took some aspirin, whatever Kev got me, and we taped it up. So y'all can't really see the tape on my knee. I didn't want to really show nobody, but yeah, I just had to fight through.
Awesome, thanks, Avery.
Yes, sir.
Our next question is going to come from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Avery, you guys kind of made some minor changes to your zone. What kind of were those changes, and why do you think it maybe didn't work out as well in the first half?
I would say we stayed attached to the shooters. Like instead of sinking in the defense, we stayed out, and so they couldn't get really as much three balls to fall, and that's what really was the fix in the second half.
And kind of what was Mike's big takeaway from the game in the locker room afterwards? You guys were able to kind of stabilize. You were down 11, felt like the entire second half. You guys were able to stabilize. It was just too late. What was the takeaway from him?
Just we got to know that against a good team, we can't make little mistakes, because anytime we get on the run and they make a mistake, they hit us right back in the mouth. And we just got to get over that hump. And also, second chance points, that killed us. And turnovers, and we'll get it back.
Flav, he got some extended minutes for the first time in a while. What's it been like just to kind of see him, he's a senior, he could have his head down and stuff like that. What to kind of see him work through this?
Just seeing him come in and work every day with a positive mindset. I love Flav, and I know he's always in the gym working, and it's coming along as you can see. So you got to stick to the course.
You cut your hair and then you lost your headband. What's going on?
I just something different. I just wanted to get my grown man on right now. That's why I cut it. But yeah, the headband probably gonna be back next game.
No, I appreciate it, Avery.
Yes, sir.
Our next question comes from Frank Bonner from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Avery, you guys are able to, use some of your strengths when you guys get out in fast breaks. You only had 2 fast break points today. How much of that played a role into this loss?
Uh, I would say it played a real key in the loss because we couldn't get out as much as we usually do. And that's our identity, playing fast. We like number one in Big 12 when we playing fast, and we didn't really get out of transition because we wasn't getting stops. So we got to get stops on the defensive end.
Now, do you think it was all because you guys weren't getting stops, or do you also think it was Baylor defensively a little bit?
I would say because we wasn't getting stops. They were very good on the offensive end today. And so we just got to dig down deep when things get hard and try to get stopped so we can get out and run again.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Our next question comes from Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, Avery, you got to look at Baylor several weeks ago before they got hit with the COVID. They were known for their great defense. Did their defense seem the same now as it did to you 4 or 5 weeks ago?
I would say it's the same. It's just we just got to execute better. And they're a very good defense team. I'm not saying they're not. We just did some little things on offense that we got to communicate on and execute on the offensive end.
Well, that said, you shot over 50%, 28 of 52. Your shooting was top shelf tonight. You had too many turnovers, 18 as a team. But it seemed like offensively, you guys actually held your own with a team that, in theory, is one of the best defensives in the nation.
Yeah, like you said, the turnovers really killed us. That's possessions that we didn't get a shot up. And so with those possessions that we could have had, we could have been in the game or on top.
Thanks, Avery.
I appreciate it.
And our last question is going to come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Avery, I know Baylor is obviously really good and regarded as a national title contender. Is this loss at all deflating? Do you find positives? What do you take from this?
No, I would just say we just got to get back in the lab, man. Get ready for the Saturday's game against West Virginia, another good team. So we're not gonna lose our confidence off of one bad game against a good team. Like it's March, and so it's a whole bunch of good teams that we got to face, and it's just getting us ready for whatever we got to face.
Thanks, Avery.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Avery, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Take good care.
You too.
Thanks. All right, Caleb, in the interest of saving time, I think we're just going to open it straight up to questions, okay?
Okay.
All right, our first question is going to come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, Caleb. That first half, rebounding wise, Baylor was dominating in that. You guys cleaned it up the second half, but what did Baylor do so well rebounding wise?
I mean, they did a really good job of like their bench just tapping it out and the guards being there like about a half court line to get it. Really, we really didn't expect them to do so many long. We knew there was going to be a lot of long threes, but we forgot the concept. We had so many people like trying to cave in the pinch, try to go rebound, but we had nobody out to try to get the long rebounds, and that's where it really messed us up in the first half.
How frustrating is that when you see them tapping the ball out so much and doing things like that?
I mean, it's frustrating, but then again, that goes back to our principles. If kids go get the ball with two hands, either block, make sure your guy doesn't get it, or you go get it. And if you don't hit the guy, you might as well just try to go. You better get the rebound, because if not, stuff like that happens.
How do you feel about the defense tonight that you guys played?
In the first half, I honestly think our defense picked up a lot during the game. Like at the beginning of the stretch, at the beginning of the game wasn't the best. Our communication wasn't the best. We had laps where like we didn't have pressure on the ball, or like we didn't talk on cuts, stuff like that. But towards the end, I think our defense was great. I think it just got better towards the game. for the end of the game.
And last one for me is this: it's Baylor. We know that they're national title contender in a lot of people's eyes. Is you guys just had a 5-game winning streak? Is this deflating at all? Do you take positives out of this? What do you think of this?
No, and if anybody on the team is looking at this as a negative, I mean, you win some, you lose some. Honestly, that's how you view it. Like, yeah, cool. I mean, even them, they had to lose a game to learn from their mistakes. And they had it last year. They thought they was going to go undefeated, and they had to lose a couple games so they could pick that up. I mean, it's a game of runs, and we didn't cut the water off early enough at times, so that's what led to the big stretch. But this game isn't something to be complained about. I mean, there's never something to blame on officiating or stuff like that, because that's just not how we are as a program. But yeah, no, this game it gives us hope. I mean, look at it. We was down 11 for majority of the game, and then we cut the lead to 4 with 2 minutes left, and then some calls we started the control started fouling. I mean, I would take being down 4 points with the number 2 team in the country any day of the week with 2 minutes left to go. I would do that because that shows that we're tough and we can do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Kalib.
Our next question comes from Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, Kalib, you guys had a very efficient night offensively, shot 54%. The turnovers, you had too many, 18. Do you think can you keep that kind of offensive production and limit the turnovers? Is that possible to do?
I'm pretty sure we have done that at sometime this year in the game. This game, our turnovers really just killed us. Honestly, they're a great defensive team, and we knew that coming in. But the turnovers really is what messed us up as a team. And we cut. Even I'm not saying it's a perfect game, but say if we cut those to 9, cut them in half, it's a different kind of ball game than having 18.
They seem you got to play against them before they got hit with COVID. Was their defense as good tonight as it was before the COVID break? Do you think?
I think it was pretty much the same. Honestly, I respect their program. They have great communication and everything. They're great. They do really good rotating and everything like that. I think their defense was the same. I honestly just think we made turnovers, just sloppy turnovers that didn't really have to do with them, but which was really just us.
Our next question comes from Matt Hubbard from Go Pokes. Go ahead, Matt. Matt, let's try that again.
Unmute. Okay, there we go. Are we good?
Yep, go for it.
All right. So, Kalib, a couple of months ago, you talked about how you'd been struggling, on the court. What really changed for you?
Putting extra time in the gym, honestly, and having trust in my coach staff having trust in me, and just honestly just being a teammate and buying into the role that I play for this team. I'm not a person that has to run the offense or have the ball to create offense. I create offense for my teammates if I run, post up hard, screen well, and just be a presence, honestly. And that's what I did. I had to buy into that role.
All right. Thank you.
All right, run a little bit short on time. I see multiple hands up, but we'll go with Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing, and then Robert will give you the first question with Mike Boynton. So Marshall, go ahead.
Yeah, Kalib, how does your mindset kind of shift now going into a West Virginia game in 2 days? It's obviously a tough matchup for you with Culver.
I mean, just the same mindset that I've been having for years in basketball. Just don't get punked, be a present. I mean, I don't like being punked. West Virginia's about to be one of the most physical games of the year again. So I just got to go in there with a dog mentality and be energetic. That's one of my problems on the road.
And then last thing, what kind of goes through your mind as a teammate whenever you see Cade go down there at the end?
I'm just making sure he's all right for one, and then see, I got his back if he needs anything, but just always be there for him.
Appreciate it, Kalib.
Kalib, thank you so much. We appreciate you as always.
Thank y'all.
Boy, Coach, you've said it before, but there are no easy nights in the Big 12, are there?
No, especially when you extend it a week. But played a really good team, and I thought we did some really good things, but we made way too many mistakes. Turnovers in the second half, and giving up the extra possessions by not defensive rebound in the first half. I thought was the difference in both of those halves. But can't dwell on it. Can't look in the rearview mirror here. Certainly got a quick turnaround and another really, really good opponent that we got in front of us.
Very good. Members of the media, please click raise hand and we'll try and get to everybody. First question is going to come from Robert Allen from Triple Play Sports. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, Coach, I was just going to ask you what you knew at this point, which I'm going to guess isn't much on Cade's situation.
Yeah, not much. I obviously have it right in front of me there. I didn't see anything unusual other than stepping on the guy's foot and rolled in. So we'll get an evaluation, and as soon as we know more, we'll obviously pass the information along.
Thank you.
Our next question is going to come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Mike, you mentioned the offensive rebounding. Baylor's obviously really good at that, but when they're tipping balls out and doing things like that maybe catch some guys by surprise, is there frustrations building there, or what was happening there with the first half?
Yeah, I mean, they're good. It's part of their identity, and they got guys who understand that that's an important part of them having success is going to the glass. And we didn't make the proper adjustment. We kept running in even when they were shooting threes and we're chasing, and now those batted out balls are going to guys that stand behind the line. Certainly something for us to learn from, but that's a really good team, and there's a reason that they've been considered one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the country all year. And it's a great opportunity for us to use this as a way to grow and get better.
You mentioned you were right in front of Cade when he got hurt. What kind of goes through your mind there when you see Cade roll his ankle like that?
Well, I'm always first and foremost worried about this future. That's my, as much as winning and representing our program is, my commitment to these kids is always first. And I want to make sure he's okay. And if he's okay, he'll continue to work with us. And if it's anything more serious than it feels like it is right now, then we'll evaluate how we need to move forward.
You feel like it's serious? Do you have any gauge on that?
I have no idea. I mean, it didn't seem that way, but I'm no doctor, so I don't want to give any bad information either way. He's obviously able to walk on his own power back to the locker room. So we got trainers and doctors for it. They'll give me information, and I'll follow their guidance on it.
He was kind of held in check a little bit offensively the first half, and he adjusted the second half and really did a lot of good things. How good was he in the second half? What did you see from him?
He was really good. I thought he was, really assertive. We had to make an adjustment. They made an adjustment to how they were guarding ball screens because we got some rolls to the rim. And then they just started switching, which kind of keeps people in front of him. But we tried to find the right switch that he could maybe get a better look off of, and he took advantage like a good player does.
And last one for me. You guys won 5 in a row. I know how good you think Baylor is. What positives do you take from this? Do you feel like it's deflating at all, or what do you take from this?
I mean, losing is always deflating. No matter who it's against. But certainly, in our conference, we get into this time of year where all these games are a big deal. We're playing meaningful basketball in March. We think we'll have a chance to continue to play meaningful basketball in March, so we can't dwell on it. We didn't just lose at home to a bad team. We lost on the road to a team that many, undoubtedly, they'll be a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. So I won't let our guys hang their heads because we've accomplished a lot, and there's still a lot more out there in front of us.
Thanks, Mike.
Our next question comes from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Mike, there's a saying in basketball that long shots produce long rebounds. How much of Baylor's shooting threes kind of contributed to their offensive boards, or was it things that your guys maybe weren't doing?
It was a combination of both. They weren't all long rebounds. A lot of them were kind of up around the rim and just kind of being tipped out deep. And so we got to go back and look at the film and figure out if there's a way from a strategic standpoint to make sure that that's not something that becomes a problem long term. Are we boxing out? Should the guy who chases challenges the shot maybe stay more in the free throw line area as opposed to coming all the way back into to the basket to rebound. And that's something that's my job, is to find out how to help our team be better in those situations.
And then you in the second half went less Rondell, more Farron. Kind of what went into that decision?
Rondell didn't have it today. That happens. That's why you have depth. Keelan again gave us some good minutes because he is a good rebounder and thought he played it really hard. But Farron's been here, and I felt confident that if he got in there and had an opportunity, he would be ready. And I thought he was. I thought him and Bernie and Keelan really off our bench gave us a lot of really strong productivity.
And then last one for me, it's a weird turnaround with you go flying from Baylor to Waco, or from Waco to Morgantown. What do the next few days look like? Are you guys flying out tonight? What does that kind of look like?
No, I mean, Morgantown's not a place you want to fly to starting at 8:30 Central Time. So we'll stay here tonight. We'll get up in the morning and we'll try to get up there when the sun's out, so we don't have any issues with our pilots.
I appreciate it.
Our next question comes from Frank Bonner from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Mike, I'm not sure how many teams in the country can say that they've played as many top 10 teams as you guys have. You've won a lot of them. You're down by 4 late in the game against Baylor. At this point in time, how do you like the way you guys are just competing against some of the top 10 teams in the country, even the ones you lose?
I love our team. I really do. We got some really competitive guys. But we ran into a team that was better tonight. And they're experienced. They're tough. They got great leadership. They got great coaching. And again, they're going to be expected to be a team that plays on the final weekend of the season. But I thought for the most part, we went toe-to-toe with them. We had the ball down 4. There was 5 or 6 minutes to go. And so, we showed what we're capable of, but we just didn't get over the hump. Baylor had a lot to do with that, but I was proud of what our guys did, and I look forward to continuing to build with them. There's a lot more basketball for this team out of us the next couple of weeks.
And you guys are, playing your best when you guys are able to get out in fast break and transition. You guys weren't able to do that today. What were some of the factors that played a role into that?
Well, the first half, they just kicked our butts on the glass. It's hard to get out and run when you're taking the ball out of the net a lot. And, they took advantage of our, I don't know if it was lack of awareness. I have to go back and watch the film to figure out how. But I think they had 10 offensive rebounds in the first half. And they only missed like 20 shots. And so that means they were getting almost 2 shots every time down the court, which makes it hard to run. So if you don't force turnovers, you got a defensive rebound. And we didn't do either, which really held us back from getting out in transition. We did a better job in the second half of getting stops, which gave us a chance to have more flow in our offense.
Thank you, Mike.
Our next question comes from Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, Mike, you had 18 turnovers. You had a great shooting night, but 18 turnovers was your downfall. Some of those Baylor's defense, but some were just careless. This late in the season, what can you do to sort of make sure you value the ball more?
Watch the film, be more conscious of our spacing. Again, you can't make that many mistakes against this caliber team and win. Not this time of year. There's too much urgency across the board, especially when you consider there are a lot of guys around the country that their clocks are winding down. This is the end of their careers. They don't want this thing to end, so they're going to do everything they can to try to take advantage of the mistakes you make. And again, Baylor, who's our conference champion already, proves why they are by taking advantage of almost every mistake that we made today. Had a lot of points so far turnover.
Cade made the biggest turnover when you that down 4, and he just sort of with the big fella on him, he just sort of lost the ball. He was in such an offensive rhythm. How does that happen where he just sort of just gets away from him?
Yeah, I don't know if he took, again, I was actually watching the guys in front of me. He was on the other side, and I was trying to get the spacing proper where I was. And next thing I know, I looked up and I saw them going the other way. So I would have to guess. I don't want to do that, but I feel like maybe he relaxed for a second, liking the switch that he had, and just lost it. Certainly a mistake that he regrets at this point. He knows it. He knows he's got to take care of the ball better in that situation, and I feel confident of putting the ball in his hands again the next time we have that opportunity, that he won't make that same mistake the next time out.
Our next question is going to come from Chris Becker from the Ocala. Go ahead, Chris.
Coach, it seemed like every time, they had you guys on the ropes, you'd make a big run, and then they'd kind of answer with a big 3 or, a couple more, a little run of their own. How do you kind of stop that from happening where when you guys make runs, you kind of, keep that momentum on your side of the court and not let them kind of get right back into it?
Well, again, with all due respect, that's saying that Baylor is not good enough to do it. Like, we can stop them. You got to give them credit. They're really good, and I don't want to discount the fact that they got a couple All-American players, right? A couple guys who are going to be Player of the Year type guys, and there's a reason for that. We're a team that's got to continue to learn. I think we are where they were maybe 2 years ago, with some guys that are kind of learning how to figure out how to win, and they've got it figured out. They've won a lot of games where the game's been close at some point in the second half, and they've kind of made that run. It's something that's really a part of who they are, part of their DNA. And so I'm not saying we can't do anything about it. We just have to continue to grow. We got to continue to mature. We got to continue to get more production from different guys throughout the roster. And I'm confident in our staff and my ability to get that done over the next couple of weeks.
Thanks, Coach.
And our final question is going to come from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Mike, any update on ice, kind of what's his situation like?
He's better. Again, I want to get, I handle all injuries the same, and it doesn't really matter who the player is. Guys are ready to go out there. And the key is, can they play at the level from an effort standpoint that we need? I don't know if we're going to make shots, but when they get there, when they can go back out there. He wasn't there today. Tomorrow we'll travel. We'll see how much he can do in practice, and then we'll reevaluate on Saturday morning whether he can go in West Virginia.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, that'll do it for questions, but kind of as always here, while we got the group together, is there anything else that you feel is important that you'd want to share that maybe we didn't cover?
No, man, we had a heck of a run here over the last week. People looked up at the schedule, and I'm sure many people said, they could easily go 0-5 here. And, we won the first three. And so that was a good start. And so I'm proud of what we've done. But tonight was a step back, but it was against a really good team. And I look forward to getting back to practice and trying to figure out how to get back on the right track on Saturday up in Morgantown.
Coach, thank you so much for your time, for your insight, and safe travels to Morgantown.
Thank you very much.
Members of the media, thank you as well.